Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Welcome to episode 1, season 1 of the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Garrett Williamson. I'm your host, and we're talking to you from the campus of Personal Edge Fitness. Now, who am I? And why am I doing a podcast? I think that's probably a good place to start all of this. Again, my name is Garrett Williamson. I have a BS degree in exercise science from the University of Georgia. I have a master's degree at the United States Sports Academy in fitness management. I have been a personal trainer for the last 28 years, working with all ages, all kinds, what have you. I also still competitive myself. I was a pole vaulter in college, and then somewhere around when I hit 40, I decided to get back into the competitive world and started taking up multisport training, multisport racing, and I had the privilege of competing in my first national championships in 2009 in sprint triathlon, and was blessed enough to place 6th in the nation and qualify for Team USA. And that has been a major passion of mine. I've just completed my 8th World Championship competition, ITU World Championship in Ponte Vedra, Spain. I've done 9 World Championship races in aquabike, sprint triathlon, and aquathlon. So I also have since that really didn't pay the bills, my day job is I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness. Personal Edge is an elite training facility dedicated to making our clients feel better about being themselves. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today and give you a little background on not only why I'm doing a podcast, but tell you the underlying theme behind this podcast. And that is dealing with what I just said a minute ago, making our clients feel better about being themselves. Now, obviously, this is going to be about health and wellness. This is going to be about fitness. We're going to cover all aspects of nutrition and what have you. But the thing I'm most concerned about with my clients, with anybody that we get a chance to work with anybody that I talk to about health and wellness, is finding their own personal level of wellness. Now, what I mean by that is nobody comes to us for a physical goal. I am a personal trainer. I'm in the fitness industry. I've been a personal trainer for 28 years. I've got all kinds of people that come to us for many reasons. 75% of the people come to us for weight loss. We've done strength training programs. We've taught 3 people to walk again. And we've got 13 scholarships to our name. So you'd think they'd be here for a physical goal, but that's not true. Everybody comes to us actually for a mental reason, and that's what we call their level of wellness. So if you've got 20 extra pounds on you, and you got a gut that sticks out, let's say it makes an entrance before you do, it precedes you, or you've got a shoulder that hurts you, you've got a rotator cuff damage, or you've got a knee that's been a trick knee ever since you had that football injury, you're not coming to see me, you're not going to see anybody do anything about any of that until it starts bothering you in your head. Now, there's plenty of people wandering around with shoulders that don't function because of a rotator cuff injury. They've even gotten it frozen at some point in times because they just stopped moving it because they've injured it or what have you. They've got calcification in that bone and not doing a thing about it. Well, that's fine. The reason being is that it doesn't bother them in their head. It doesn't bother them for the main reason why people would come to see us. The reason I say that nobody comes to us for a physical reason is very simple. Somebody contacts me and says they want to lose weight. Well, we start digging deeper, find out what's bothering them, because evidently this person's been, in many cases, been overweight for years. All of a sudden, they saw themselves in the mirror. All of a sudden, their wife made a comment. All of a sudden, they're not able to get a date. Their kids made fun of them. Something the doctor scared them about, what have you. Something affected their mind. Something truly bothered them. And that's why they decided to make a change, and that's why they're coming to see me. So what we're talking about here is addressing the real reason why anybody gets involved into a fitness program, and for that matter, for a nutrition program. Dietitians deal with the exact same situation. Why are people coming to see me? Why are they trying to make a difference in their lives? Now, our mission statement here at Personal Edge Fitness is we seek to make everyone feel better about themselves. Now, that's what I'm talking about as far as the mental side of this. But our passion statement is for everyone to entrust their health to us. The staff of Personal Edge Fitness is compelled to find each client's personal level of wellness. All that comes in addressing the mental side of fitness, the mental side of what we do. If I have somebody come in and see me for, let's say, to get in shape. Let's say they're interested in strength training and what have you. And I've got a few examples here. A lady come in to see me about 10 years ago, and she called me up and said she wants to get stronger, and she was, I want to lose some weight. And I noticed all this stuttering going on. Now, if somebody's calling up to set up an appointment with a personal trainer, that usually takes a few battles you've already conquered. Let's put it that way. That there's some challenges in your own mind. There's intimidation factors of contacting a trainer. There's problems of actually making the decision to make a change. So when you've got to that point of actually picking up the phone and calling, you've dealt with a few battles in the mind, as it were. And I figured, if somebody's calling me and really has a goal, they're going to call up and be able to spit it out with no problem whatsoever. And here she is hesitating. I thought it was one of the greatest phone calls I've had in the 28 years I've been doing this, because she finally stopped and said, you know what? I want to get on the floor and play with my grandchild. I've got 3 granddaughters, and I have my first grandson. And I noticed the other day I wasn't able to get on the floor and play with him. And that's the reason I'm calling you. Now, what I mean there, that's not an exercise. That's not a bench press. That's not a squat. That's not 20 pounds of weight. That's not a knee injury. That's a level of wellness. That's her true goal. And with all due respect to this kind lady, she could care less what kind of modality, what kind of level of fitness, what kind of trainer she worked with, what have you, as long as she was able to get on the floor and play with her grandchild. Now, that's her level of wellness. There are actually 6 dimensions of what we call wellness. Now, Dr. Bill Hetler is the co-founder of the National Wellness Institute. Actually, in 1976, designed a model of the different parts of wellness. You've got occupational, which deals with the personal satisfaction and enrichment in one's life through work. You've got the physical, which is the need for regular physical activity. There's a social component of it, contributing to one's environment and community. You can't do anything without the mind. There's an intellectual component, which is one's creative, stimulating mental activities. There's a spiritual side of it, which is a search for meaning and a purpose in human existence. And there's the emotional side of it, which recognizes awareness and acceptance of one's feelings. Now, I'm going to stop a second and think, okay, wait a second. I turned this podcast on because I want to hear what this trainer had to say and listen to some aspects of fitness, and he's going off on this tangent of dimensions of wellness. Well, I promise you, if you're involved in some kind of fitness program, or if you're involved in some kind of a nutritional program, you're doing it for one of those many reasons right there. You're not going to stick with it unless it addresses every single one of them. Just like the lady I was telling you about a minute ago. You may say you just want to lose 20 pounds. You may want to make the varsity squad. You may just want to run a 5K in a certain amount of minutes. But the reason for doing any of those things is because at the end of the day, one of those physical activities, physical accomplishments, makes you feel better about being yourself. That's what we're seeking. That's what we're going after. And the reason I bring it up and the reason I find it so important is the fact that we find plenty of people that are looking for fitness. They're looking for different types of fitness. They're looking at a high-intensity interval training program. They're looking at what their best friend does, or they're going out for a run. They're swimming. They're finding these things that seem like, hey, that's the activity I want to do. Much like a client I was talking to this morning saw a pair of shoes. He liked the look of the shoes on the client, and the client said, well, these are light. And so he's dying to go out and buy these shoes because, gosh, that sounds good. Light sounds really good. He was asking me, what do you think about that shoe? You think I ought to go get that shoe? My question to him was simple. What are you trying to do with it? Well, when I'm walking, my hips hurt. And I said, well, I'm not so sure that's the weight of the shoe. All right, what am I talking about here? Again, when people are looking for a fitness program or looking for a diet or what have you, they're looking for the different things that sound good. But at the end of the day, they're looking to solve that thing in their mind. They're looking to solve that problem of finding that level of wellness. If you're involved in a fitness program right now, you're involved in some sort of an activity, and you may be struggling with it. You may be going great with it. I hope so. I hope you are. But if you find yourself struggling with certain components of it, sit down and think about, why the heck are you doing this in the first place? Now, it's kind of funny for me to say that since I'm in the business of selling fitness. I don't want to talk anybody out of it, that's for sure. But I would like you to not spin your wheels, not waste your time. Kind of analyze what's going on. Now, I want to tell you also, you may hear a little bit of background there. Again, I'll remind you, we're on the campus of Personalized Fitness. We've got training going on. I think I've got Josh with a rather booming voice motivating somebody along. So if you hear a little bit of that background, just bear with us if you don't mind. So anyway, putting this idea of searching for your level of wellness, putting it into practice is a 6-step program. And why would you want to do that? Well, the whole reason you want to do that is the fact that gets you to the core reason of why you're doing fitness, core reason of why you want to diet, and helps you actually select exactly which avenue you want to go down. If you know that you're going towards addressing that mental reason for picking a fitness program or getting involved in a fitness program, if you're addressing that, you're going to develop a passion for it. You're going to be far more motivated and you're going to be far more successful because every day you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem going to work if you know what the goal is, if you're working towards a goal. You don't mind putting the work in there if you're actually working towards the actual goal of why you're doing this. So it's an easy way to develop a passion. And actually, I've seen it where it actually makes somebody excited about an exercise, if not an exercise regimen altogether. Our trainers, in fact, are trained to recognize that. There are certain exercises that speak to certain clients. We know that each one of those happen to be addressing that level of wellness for them, especially with the clients that we see that are here to see us because the whole aging crisis and their fear of aging. Putting this into practice, like I say, is a 6-step program. Number 1, first thing you want to do is, of course, identify your hindrance to your level of wellness, or identify actually what your level of wellness is. And I tell people to take this and work it backwards. Now, you may be listening to me and simply say, Garrett, gosh, all I want to do is lose 20 pounds. That's it. Well, why'd you pick that number? What made you get up and do something now? And I say work backwards from it because if you're already involved in a fitness program, what are the aspects of it that you like? What parts of it? It can be the exercise itself. It can be how you feel afterwards. It can be the results on a scale the next day. It can be the way somebody comments about you. It can also be the way a suit fits you when you put something on. Many times, it's the way you feel about yourself when you're involved in the exercise itself. That's the reason they have so many mirrors in fitness facilities. Yeah, it's checking for them, but I'm telling you, we're checking ourselves, and we're checking ourselves for a reason. And keep in mind, vanity is absolutely my favorite sin, that's for sure. Pardon me, you may have noticed that sound in the background there. That's a little bit of our drinking game. I'm passionate about drinking water. We're going to talk about this in some upcoming podcasts, but water will make you lose fat, not weight. I don't mean it indirectly. I mean it directly. It will make you lose fat. So you'll hear me drinking leading up to my over 100 ounces a day. So I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. When I'm drinking, I want you to drink too, and please make it water. I'm not trying to encourage anybody to go down the wrong road. So, number 2. Look for the most meaningful way to address this problem. Now, that sounded funny. The most practical way is what you'd think I'd say or what have you. I mean the most meaningful. The reason I say most meaningful, we get asked all the time, what is the best cardio exercise? What's the best exercise? What's the best ab exercise? That's another popular one. Well, as a trainer with a bachelor's degree in exercise science, a master's degree in fitness management, and 2 different certifications that you can't get unless you have a degree, I'm under a certain code of ethics, and I'm kind of governed by the powers that be of personal trainers. So therefore, the answers to all those questions I can't tell you because then I'd have to kill you. So what we usually tell people when we answer those questions is that we tell them that the answer to the best cardio exercise, the best fitness exercise, the best ab exercise, it's the one that you do. Now, it seems kind of ridiculous and stupid, but if it can be swimming, but if you don't swim, you don't care to swim, you're not looking to go swim, it's too much trouble to swim, you don't like what you look like in a bathing suit, it's not going to happen. So I tell you, that's probably the worst cardiovascular exercise for you. In fact, in swimming alone, that's a running joke in the fitness industry, is to have a swimming pool because it's a great thing to sell memberships off of, and it'll put you out of business quicker than anything else because of the insurance concerns. I didn't say look the most practical. I said look for the most meaningful way to address that problem. I've got runners, and they love to run. Absolutely love to run. They get that runner's high. There's an endorphin release. The body's an amazing thing. It can create a type of morphine that we cannot reproduce, and it feels great, and this is what feels great to these runners. This is why you hear of that runner's high. You've also got a time when that's just time to themselves. They get to get out and go for a run and just get a break, get away from the kids, what have you. That exercise is meaningful to them. I've got 80-year-old clients that get underneath a bench press for the first time in, 20, 30, 40 years, some of them, if not more. They'll do 115, they'll do 120, they'll maybe up to 135. But to tell you what, it reminds of when they were in high school, when they were strong, young, virile, attractive, desired, whatever. It means a lot to them, so therefore they never miss that exercise. I've got a client that does ab straps, of all things, hangs from some straps and does ab straps. And just simple leg lifts or whatever, makes him feel young, makes him feel virile. I got a guy that came in and he always had to throw the medicine ball with me, no matter what size medicine ball or whatever. He had to do that because, again, it made him feel virile, made him feel young, whatever. Those are the meaningful exercises. Those actually speak to each one of those clients' level of wellness. So when you're going after your fitness goal, even if it's a rehab type of situation, even if it's your shoulder, something that speaks to you, that means something to you. And I highly recommend doing what my wife tells me on a regular basis, and that is seek professional help, Garrett. I don't think she's talking about what I'm recommending to you. I got my producer Pablo laughing in the background about that because I think he knows the truth. But seriously, taking those ideas to somebody and tell them not only what problems you have or what physical problems you have concerns with, but what things you like, what things you don't like, what speaks to you, what you see somebody doing, gosh, I wish I could do that. Those are the things that are meaningful to you. So, and I didn't say easiest either. I just said meaningful. You'll find when you find those types of programs, those types of exercises, that if they're more meaningful to you, no matter how hard they are, you'll be more passionate about it. You'll be more apt to do it. You'll get to your goal a lot faster. Number 3, clearly define what there looks like. This is something I actually talked to my staff about when we moved to our new location. I told them that I know we'd moved all the equipment over and we'd gotten some new equipment. And even though we were opening the doors, we still had some adjustments to make. We still had some equipment that was coming in. But I told them, I said, look, don't tell your clients, gosh, it'll look great when we get there, when that equipment gets here. We'll get there to look great. It looks great now. It looks great. It's fantastic now. There is when we get to this piece of equipment, this look, and then we'll know we are there. Let me give you a little better example because I think that one kind of stinks. I had a high school coach. He was actually a physics teacher. He helped me a lot in my pole vaulting. I cleared a height one day, and it was a lifelong goal as far as pole vaulting was concerned at the time. It was very low. But as soon as I cleared it, I got excited about, hey, I'm going to the next height. And he told me, be satisfied with your goal. Now, what I heard him say was, that's good enough for you. And of course, I got upset about it. And I think to this day, I look back on it and think, you know what? I had strived so long to get to that level. I had defined what there was. There happened to be 10.6. 10.6 gets me into the varsity level. 10.6 gets me into qualification. That's there. Need to be excited about going there. It's not that I didn't want to get better. And it's not that I don't have clients that come in and have a goal and they want to drop 5 or 10 pounds and they get there. It's not that they don't turn around and change and set another goal. I'm not against that. But you got to have an end point. You got to have a finish point. You got to have, what does this actually look like when I get there? Maybe it's a number. Maybe it's how you feel. Maybe it's able to get on the floor and play with your kids. Maybe it's a certain bench press. Clearly define there. Once you get there, you can always redefine it. But you'll drive yourself nuts if you keep moving that bar as you're going along. And if you're looking down and you're grabbing your fat and you don't have a way of actually measuring it, a body fat number, a weight or something, a definable goal, you'll drive yourself nuts always getting there and you think you'll be spinning your wheels. And actually, you've probably already been there. Number 4, set a timeline to achieve it. Now, the reason I say that is that a goal without a timeline is just a dream. And if you sit there and say, I'm going to lose weight, well, that's not defined enough. You'll define it in step number 3. And number 4, you give yourself a goal. And again, go back to what I said earlier, seek professional help on that. Sit down and talk to somebody. I want to lose 20 pounds in a week. They may say, well, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. But they can give you some realistic ideas about your timeline, about how soon you should expect to hit that goal. And keep in mind, we're talking about level of wellness here. So when you're doing that, you've got to think about the 6 dimensions of it and every aspect of your life. Real simple, if I'm going to start running 2 hours a day every single day. Well, if you got kids, you got a job, you got a wife, you got a significant other of some sort, that may be a little difficult. Take all those things into consideration. That will affect your timeline. But if you lay that out for yourself, it's much easier to digest mentally. Number 5, take your first step, which is make a plan. Now, you think you take your first step as, hey, go out and go for your first run, go out and do your first workout or what have you, or go out and do your Monday, I'm starting the diet. Make your plan. You've got a timeline now. You've got it clearly defined there. You know what your goal is. You know what your level of wellness is. You're starting to find a modality of fitness or diet or whatever that's going to get you there. Set a plan. This is going to happen on Monday. What time is it going to happen on Monday? How long is it going to take? If you're going to do a fitness program, what time is it going to take you to change? You're going to shower afterwards? Are you driving there? Or you whatever? Lay that all out. Know it through the first week. Know it through the first 2 weeks. Get it cleared out. Write it down if you have to. Because again, a plan gets you to that goal, and a goal's got a timeline. Like I said, if not, it's a dream. It's almost the same thing with the idea of a plan. Think of Eisenhower's great quote on that. The plan's not important. Planning is important. You can't have that plan B, which is most of us live our lives by, without making that plan A. And number 6, take your second step to put your plan into action. When you're actually putting your plan together, be very, very clear about that second step. Know exactly what time it's going to happen. Many times when they put this together, many motivational speakers talk about this particular idea, about putting your plan into action. If you're going to make some major changes, make sure as soon as you make that plan, you can close the book and immediately start then. And that could be something as simple as laying your clothes out for a workout the next day. Be very clear about that second step. That way you're more apt to get started, get going towards your level of wellness. Now, the reason I keep talking about that, there's your 6-step guide to attacking your level of wellness. You'll hear me using that particular phrase throughout all of my podcasts. I'm going to address that on several occasions, your level of wellness. And it's mainly making all of your fitness challenges, wellness challenges, diet challenges, what have you, it's putting them into reality. You're making a plan to make a change. Be realistic about it. And search for your level of wellness. It's not a number. It's what makes you feel better in your mind. If you're keeping up, I'm a little behind, make sure you drink. Well, there's a lot of success stories I have dealing with level of wellness. I had a lady that came in and actually worked on, I want to lose weight. It turned out that she was the I have to say this, love this lady to death, but I live in a rather small town, and she was the fat teacher. At that time, years ago, we didn't have such an obese nation. We didn't have childhood obesity running rampant, and so when we had a substitute teacher come in, everybody knew who the fat one was. She was very, very overweight, been overweight pretty much all my life. She came in to see me, and it's quite obvious that she had decided to finally make a change. And she said she wanted to lose weight, and I said, how much? She said, I don't know. I'll know when I get there. And I said, okay, that sounds fantastic. How are we going to go about this? She was going to give me 2 days a week to work with her, and we were going to start there. And I'll tell everybody this actually started back in 1997. It's very significant. Remember that date. But she came in and we started losing some weight. We did 2 days a week. And then we went to a plan of once we gotten 2 days a week and gotten that under our belt, we were going to start doing 5 days a week where she'd do cardio and she'd do resistance training with me 2 days a week. And then she was going to go to 7 days a week worth of walking. We moved on to that. We started tracking and setting numbers. By this time, I want you to be down this weight. By this time, I want you to be down this weight. And every time we'd hit her there, we'd reevaluate. Where do we want to go from here? How are you feeling? One day she walked in my office and she said, Garrett, this is it. Garrett, this is where I want to live. She'd gotten her fitness routine down to a program that she could manage, where it was 7 days a week worth of walking, a couple of days a week worth of working out with me and what have you. She said her nutrition, her fitness level, how she felt about herself, how she looked. She said, this is where I want to live. Now, anybody looked at her, they could say, yeah, you could probably stand to lose a few more pounds. Sure, she probably could. But you know what? She can maintain where she was for the rest of her life, which she did. She did. She lost 45 pounds of fat, not weight. She lost 45 pounds of fat. Now, she did this back in 1997. The reason that date is significant. She was paying me a few $100s a month as a personal trainer at that exact same time. Oprah Winfrey's first trainer. She was paying over $2,000 a week. He was almost living with her, redoing our diets and whatever. They were spending hours together. And I always told my client that, if you get your own nationally syndicated talk show, I'd be a famous trainer. But up until that point, she had a lot of success. She maintained that after not only 4 pounds of fat did she lose, but she maintained it through 2 bouts of cancer, which was pretty amazing. Had a girl come in that just wanted to start working out on a regular basis, start doing some fitness, start feeling a little bit better on herself. We kept on setting those dares. She was losing a little weight, and then she started working out a little bit more. Then she started walking with some groups, doing a little bit of group fitness. She'd never done that before. She'd never actually done a whole lot outside of her family before and outside of her home. She did all that and parlayed every single bit of that all the way up to 7 or 8 years later. She qualified for the National Duathlon, where she qualified for Team USA and just competed in her first World Championship. Every time she knew when she hit her there, she celebrated each one of her theirs and then she reset a goal and went for the next level of wellness. I'll give you a little bit of closing on this episode because that's going to come up quite a bit. But the main thing I want to say about in the end of this and the conclusion is there's a lot of external hindrances to searching for your level of wellness. Most of it is due to myths about fitness, myths about nutrition, myths about age. And this is something we're going to address quite a bit. It's something that aggravates me. There's an absolute lies in diet. There's a lie of food. And my biggest one, which is a lie of aging. We're going to talk about that a lot because don't let that ever be a hindrance. Thank you for listening today to the inaugural episode of Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it around. Make sure to subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you on future ones. Hey, I'm Garrett Williamson. Remember, stay hydrated.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.